Hello and welcome back to the Canaries Chat channel. So I thought I'd hop on and do a little bit of a derby review and review for Preston coming up on Tuesday as well. My initial thoughts about derby, very, very frustrating. I think us as a fan base are quite frustrating. Obviously not coming away with 3 points, but that's football at the end of the day. You know, I think during the game, I really didn't think we played too bad. I think, credit where credit's due to Derby. I thought they, came here and done really, really well. They played with a 5-4-1, it seemed, during the game and really kind of set up in a really good way and really stopped us from playing the way that we want to do. And, I know you think, and in your head you think, well, Derby are 22nd, we should be beating them all day long. Yes, I do get that argument, but they sacked their manager a day before. They're all playing for their lives at the minute to try and get out of that relegation scrap that they're in, and I don't think it's going to be an easy game for us. I know they hadn't won an 8, and I know their record isn't great, but I guess it all starts somewhere, and if it does start to turn for them now, they'll probably look back at Norwich and look at the point that they've got and, see that as quite a big game. It's the same thing happened with QPR. QPR are in a really, really poor position. We went to Loftus Road, they beat us 3-0, and that started one of their really, really good runs that they went on, and, they're quite comfortable now. So, yeah, I think fair play to Derby. They did play very, very well, and I'll be honest, I don't think we were expecting them to play the way that they did. They defended brilliantly, I thought, and didn't really let us play, like I said, the way that we wanted to. But, we had some chances that we could have done a little bit better at. Sargent's goal, what a finish. And, I think that proves why he's one of the best strikers in the league, and I just pray he can stay fit and we get him for a whole season, because he'll be such an asset to us if he can stay fit for a long period of time. I think the fans are frustrated at the moment because obviously we're 1-0 up and we seem to kind of just sit back a little bit and defend that 1-0 lead when we're at home. And I do get it to an extent. I think we're trying to protect that lead. I think, Thorpe is confident in the players that we do have to be able to do that. But if you historically look at results where we've tried to do this, I think we lost 2-1 to Cardiff away when we tried to go at the back and defend the league. I think there's another game as well which has cost us in that fashion. It's not coming to the top of my head now, but I'm pretty sure there's another game where we conceded quite late on, which cost us some points as well. And I think he was probably confident in the way that we were playing that we could probably do that, and especially with Derby playing that 5-4-1. They didn't really have a lot of attacking threat and create a lot. Obviously they had that offside goal, as did we, but other than that I didn't really think they created too much, and I know we drew, but I don't think it's Thorpe's fault, is it, for that challenge that was put in for that penalty. That's completely out of his control. That's not something that can really help. And, in hindsight, I guess everyone does say, well, if that penalty doesn't happen, we probably go away and win that. But, you can say that about any football game. But, yeah, I think his tactics were fine. As I said, I don't really think he's to blame for that error, for that penalty. I mean, definitely a penalty, by the way. You should not be putting your foot that high up, regardless if if the player's there or not. And yeah, silly challenge, but it's just one of those things. I think some of the players were off it a little bit. Fair enough. I think that is a fair argument as well. That it didn't really seem that they were, playing the way that they have been in recent games. But teams do have bad weeks and spells. It's just one of them things, unfortunately. And as I said, I don't think we're quite expecting Derby to play the way that they did. So fair play to Derby. I think all will be forgotten if we win on Tuesday night against Preston. And at the end of the day, it's still a point on the board. We didn't lose that game. I know in the fashion that, it happened with the draw. It does seem like a little bit like a loss, but that's still a point. I'm beaten in 3 or 4 now, and, I think it's definitely more positive signs that, we're implementing the way that Norwich does want to play. And, the injuries haven't helped, but, we all keep talking about this good run that we're on. We do really need to actually capitalise on that. If you look at Norwich this season, a lot of our points that we've dropped are against lower table teams that are fighting for their lives. And we look at this so-called really good run that we've got, and we're just expecting to pick up all these points, when realistically, I don't think we will. There's teams that are absolutely fighting at the bottom of that table, and we need to get out of this assumption as a fan base, so we're just going to steamroll these teams at the bottom. I know on paper it looks like we should, but we know the Championship. We know what the Championship's like. Football isn't that easy, unfortunately. It's not that easy to, just steamroll these teams at the bottom. And, there is quality there within our team, but are we quite there yet as a team, as a collective, to be winning, all these games that we should be doing? Probably not. I hate the term, but we're in this season, where Thorpe's trying to implement his style. We're offloading players that are previously there, getting some youth in, getting them minutes. I don't think as a club we're quite there yet, and I think we need to understand as a fan base that we're probably not ready for the playoffs at the moment, and mid-table is probably where we are at, and there's nothing wrong with that as well. There isn't an issue of being mid-table. I think I predicted at the start of the season we finished 9th to 12th, and it's looking like it'll probably be that, but there's nothing wrong with that. With the injuries that we've had, the youth players that we're getting in, the players that we've had to offload, trying to implement this style of play, teams do need a season like this to figure themselves out, and I feel like that's where we're at. And I'll be honest, if we do get playoffs, just like last year, realistically, are we going to win any of them games? Probably not. If we do go up to the Premier League, if we do, will we do well in that Premier League? Probably not. And that's just where we're at as a club. And I do really firmly believe we, as a fan base, need to realise that we're not as big as people think, and we're not as good as people think as well. You look at the table at the moment, there's, probably about 5 or 6 teams that are 3 points within the playoffs. And we keep going, we could be in there. Yeah, but so could the other 5, 6 that are in and around us as well. They got games in hand. And I just don't think people really believe that, we're not as good as they think. But, of course I want Norwich to win games. They're my club. I've been supporting them all my life. I want them to win football matches. I don't want us to lose. I'd love for us to go up. Don't get me wrong. No one doesn't want us to go up and, want that. Of course I want us to go up. Of course I want to see us succeed. But, you then have to look at it at a bigger picture and think, yes, if we go up. But if you think about next season, if we do go up, would that look pretty? Probably not. But I want Norwich to do well, and I think for Norwich to do well, I don't think it is getting the playoffs and promotion. I think it is just understanding where we're at as a club and resetting the foundations as much of building from there. I want us to win football games, and that leads me on to the next segment, I guess, with Preston on Tuesday night at Carrow Road. Nothing beats the game at Carrow Road under the lights. I think the fans should really be up for it on Tuesday. Get behind the lads. I think there was some boos on Saturday after Derby. Really? Seriously? With 7th, 8th in the league, it's not like we're near the bottom of the table. I really don't understand it. Let's actually back them and support them and get a good atmosphere going, because Carrow Road recently has been so flat. It's been so flat. The atmosphere has been terrible. And, we really just need to get behind these players and support them when they're on the pitch. Preston should be a really good game on Tuesday. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I don't think Nunez will probably start. He did look a little bit off it against Derby at the weekend. I'm hoping that Eurostec starts as well. I was kind of disappointed that he didn't come on against Derby, and, that anticipated start that he's got, you know, not being able to join straight away, and, you know, the Forrest coming out and saying he's looking really good in training, he's eager to play. You would expect him to get some minutes on Saturday, but he didn't, unfortunately. So, you know, could there be a start for Jurasek on Tuesday? Cernat, you know, didn't look where he normally is. He did look a little bit off it, but, you know, Jurasek, fresh legs. Could he be playing? I hope so. I really want to see what he can bring to this Norwich team, and especially as we brought him, and he's a player that, you know, will be here for the future and that can really, really progress his career at Norwich. Borja Sainz is back as well. You know, does he start? And that may sound silly, but, you know, if I was Lewis Dobbin, I'd be a little bit annoyed, if I'm honest. You know, we've not lost in the last 4 games out of Sainz' 6-match ban. And you start to think, well, with the performances we're putting in and the performances Dobbin's putting in, should Borja Sainz just walk straight back into that Norwich team? He is a top goal scorer in the league, though, and we can see what, you know, he does bring to this Norwich team. You know, he had moments of brilliance, and I think some Norwich fans have got a little bit on his back recently about not playing it quick enough and holding on to the ball a little bit too long. And obviously, you know, the behaviour and the fashion that he got that red card in is something that I don't condone whatsoever. But does he just go straight back in that Norwich team? He probably will, because of the quality that he brings. But if I was Lewis Dobbin, I'd be, you know, go, well, hang on here. You know, the last 4 games that I've started in, well, we haven't lost yet. And Lewis Dobbin has brought something to this Norwich team as well. It's not like he's just playing and not really doing anything. He's really, really creative. He tracks back. And I think he's been a brilliant addition in this January window. He's brought something different to this Norwich team, exactly what we needed in that replacement for Sainz. But then again, I guess that's why we brought him in, isn't it? To replace Sainz for that period. So I think that'll be a tough one for Forrest to choose. But if you look at it, I do think that probably Sainz will start that game. You know, the bench that we've got now is quite strong, albeit they didn't really do a lot against Derby. We've got a quite strong bench as well, which is good. We've got options to bring on, you know, and I think it'll actually be nice for Forrest once to actually have to pick between players to start this game. I think, you know, recently with injuries, we kind of knew what the starting 11 would be. It was kind of set out from the start with our injuries and, you know, bans and things. You kind of knew what the 11 were going to be. But I don't think you really know at this point anymore, because there's such a selection of players that he can choose from. I think it's a really, really exciting time for us at the moment. I think we should come away with a win against Preston. I think us fans would like us to probably attack a little bit more and, you know, show why we are so good at home. You know, again, there wasn't a loss at the weekend, but I think we probably need to try and attack a little bit more and put games to bed a little bit earlier. And I think Forrest even said that as well in his interview. He'd like us just to kind of see games out a little bit earlier. But I think it should be a good game on Tuesday. I think Preston will probably be up for it as well. And I think they can hurt us when they want to. But it's just about managing that well. And, you know, we've got a quick run in a game, you know, Derby, then Preston, then Hull at the weekend. So squad rotation will probably be quite key. So, yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-0, 2-1 Norwich win, I think. But I'm really, really excited to see hopefully some of these new signings start for Norwich and, you know, prove their worth within this Norwich team on Tuesday and potentially against Hull as well. But, you know, as always, let me know what you think down below in the comments, if you agree or disagree with my comments. You know, as I said, it's just my opinion, and if you have a different opinion, it's completely fine. But I'm really interested to see what you guys think about, you know, what I've said and how Derby went, how you think we're set up against Preston. Will Borja Sainz start? Let me know down below. And as always, follow us on TikTok, YouTube, X. We're looking to do more videos and more Norwich City content. You know, it's been a really, really up and down season, but, you know, we'll hopefully get there towards the end. But yeah, as always, like and subscribe if you can, and I'll see you all on the next video.